Welcome back to our channel World of Coins, the place where we uncover hidden treasures in your coin collection. Have you ever wondered if that old coins could be worth thousands or even millions? Well, today's your lucky day. We're diving into some of the rarest and most valuable US coins that might be sitting right under your nose. Let's jump in and see if you've got a fortune waiting to be discovered. Top 1. In the vast world of coin collecting, there are some coins that slip through the cracks of time, seemingly ordinary, easily overlooked, and passed from hand to hand without a second thought. But every now and then, one of these humble coins hides an incredible secret. And today, we're going to uncover the story of one such hidden gem, the 1984 Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent piece that shocked collectors when it surfaced with rare characteristics and sold for an absolutely jaw-dropping price. Now, if you're a coin collector or even just a curious coin lover, I urge you, listen very carefully. Because this is not just about a coin, it's about a discovery, a rarity, a mystery, and the magic of a moment where history, error, and luck combine to turn 5 cents into a life-changing prize. Let's start from the beginning. The Jefferson Nickel was first introduced in 1938, replacing the beloved Buffalo nickel. With a design by Felix Schlag, the obverse of the coin features a profile of President Thomas Jefferson, and the reverse displays Monticello, Jefferson's stately home in Virginia. For decades, this design remained virtually unchanged, with only minor alterations over the years. By 1984, the Jefferson nickel had already been in circulation for over 45 years. The U.S. Mint, particularly the facilities in Philadelphia, No Mint Mark, and Denver, marked with a D, produced millions of these coins. And while most of these nickels were perfectly standard, a small number escaped the mint with serious, and seriously valuable, flaws. The year 1984 brought with it a fascinating series of mint errors that would go unnoticed by the public for years, until collectors began discovering them, inspecting them under magnification, and realizing just how significant these variations were. Let's talk about the errors. The magic that transforms a 5-cent coin into a museum-worthy artifact. One of the most prized error types is the double die. Now, if you've never heard of this before, a double die error occurs when the die that stamps the coin receives a doubled impression from the hub, resulting in parts of the design appearing twice. On some 1984 Jefferson Nickels, collectors have spotted very subtle, but real, doubling on inscriptions like "Liberty" or "In God We Trust." When this doubling is bold and crisp, the value of the coin skyrockets, but that's just the beginning. Another incredibly rare error from 1984 is the off-center strike. Imagine looking at a Jefferson nickel where part of Jefferson's portrait is missing, shifted to one side, or where Monticello appears lopsided or cut off. This happens when the coin blank isn't properly aligned in the striking chamber. These errors are visually stunning, and when the date is still fully visible, they become especially desirable. We also see examples of the clipped planchet error, where a coin is missing a small, curved segment of its edge due to an improper cut during the blanking process. If the clip is prominent and the coin is otherwise well struck, this kind of flaw only increases collector interest. Then there are broad-struck nickels. These coins are struck without the collar that keeps the coin's shape tight, resulting in a flattened and slightly stretched appearance. They're easy to spot, and even easier to fall in love with, and for the serious error hunters out there, let's not forget the wrong planchet strike. There are very few known examples from 1984, but any Jefferson nickel struck on the wrong metal planchet, say, one meant for a penny or foreign currency, becomes instantly rare. These coins are usually lighter or smaller than standard nickels and may appear copper-toned or thinner than usual, but aside from these captivating errors, condition plays a massive role in the value of any coin. In the numismatic world, coins are graded on a 70-point scale. Coins that have been through circulation, jingling in pockets and tossed into drawers, often grade below MS-60. But a 1984 Jefferson nickel that has remained untouched, with a clean surface, brilliant luster, and sharp detail, especially one graded mint state 66, 67, or above, becomes a collector's dream. Now add in a full steps designation, where the steps on Monticello are fully defined and unbroken, and the value goes through the roof. The steps are one of the most difficult areas to strike cleanly, and only a very small fraction of Jefferson nickels qualify for this title. It's no surprise, then, that the most valuable Jefferson nickels often combine three ingredients: an error, an extraordinary condition, and a full steps grade, and that brings us to the incredible story of one standout 1984 Jefferson nickel, a coin that combined all three elements in one. This particular coin was found in a roll of nickels, untouched and uncirculated. It had an off-center strike that was bold but not so extreme that the date was lost. The details were razor-sharp, the surfaces nearly flawless, and to the trained eye, the steps of Monticello perfectly struck. The coin was submitted to a top-tier grading service, authenticated, and given one of the highest grades ever assigned to a 1984 nickel of its type. When the coin finally went to auction, collectors from across the country, and even international buyers, competed to claim it. Bidding was fierce. The energy was electric. And when the gavel finally dropped, that tiny, 5-cent coin, the kind you could easily miss in your change, sold for an astonishing $91,000, yes, you heard it right. $91,000. It's an unbelievable number for such a small coin, and yet, it's 100% real. This proves that numismatics isn't just a hobby, it's a world of surprises, treasures, and discoveries waiting in the most unexpected places. So the next time you get a handful of change, pause before you spend that nickel. Look closely. Is the design off-center? Are the edges strange? Do the steps on Monticello look unusually sharp? If so, you might be holding something truly special, a once-in-a-lifetime find that could change everything, because when it comes to coins like the 1984 Jefferson nickel, rarity hides in plain sight, and every coin in your pocket might be a forgotten treasure just waiting to be rediscovered. Top 2. What if I told you that a small, everyday coin, one that most people wouldn't even glance at twice, could be worth a fortune? Not a century-old coin, not a rare silver piece from the 1800s, but a simple Jefferson nickel from 1990. Yes, a 5-cent coin from the year 1990 that, under the right conditions and with the right features, has fetched an unbelievable $70,000. Sounds shocking, doesn't it? But for those who know what to look for, the 1990 Jefferson nickel is more than just pocket change, it's a collector's dream waiting to be discovered. So sit tight, pay close attention, and enjoy this journey into one of the most fascinating and valuable coins of recent history. This video is for the serious coin lovers, the collectors who crave the thrill of the hunt, and anyone who enjoys the magic of hidden treasure hiding in plain sight. Let's begin with a little history. The Jefferson nickel has been an American icon since 1938, featuring a portrait of President Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and Monticello, his historic home, on the reverse. Designed by artist Felix Schlag, this coin remained largely unchanged for decades. But even in the most ordinary years, like 1990, surprises lurk beneath the surface. In 1990, the U.S. Mint produced hundreds of millions of Jefferson nickels. These came from two primary mint facilities, the Philadelphia Mint, which issued coins with no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, which used the D mint mark. With such high production numbers, it's easy to assume that all 1990 nickels are common. But here's the truth. Not all nickels are created equal. What turns a coin from average to extraordinary is a combination of rarity, errors, varieties, and pristine condition, and the 1990 Jefferson nickel has examples that check all of those boxes. Let's first explore minting errors, which are among the most exciting and valuable features in coin collecting. Point 1 of the most dramatic and eye-catching errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the blank coin is not properly aligned during the striking process, resulting in a design that's shifted far to one side. If this happens but the full date, 1990, is still visible, that coin becomes extremely desirable. Off-center errors ranging from 10% to 50% can command massive premiums, especially if they are combined with high-quality strikes and uncirculated surfaces. Then there's the clipped planchet error, a rare mistake where a portion of the coin is literally missing. This happens when the metal sheet is fed incorrectly during the blanking process. The result is a coin with a curved clip along the edge, often with visible missing metal but perfectly struck design elements. If the clip doesn't interfere with the date or other key features, the value of the coin goes up significantly. We also have the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that forms the rim. This gives the coin a flatter, wider look. Broad-struck 1990 Jefferson Nickels are hard to find and are always popular with error collectors due to their unusual appearance. Now let's not forget one of the most exciting errors of all, the wrong planchet strike. Imagine a 1990 Jefferson nickel accidentally struck on a penny or dime planchet. This would create a nickel that's the wrong weight, wrong size, and maybe even the wrong color. These coins are so rare that even a single example can make waves in the numismatic community, but the story doesn't end with errors. Another critical factor in the value of a 1990 Jefferson nickel is condition, specifically, how well the coin was preserved. In numismatics, coins are graded on a scale from 1 to 70. A coin graded MS-60 is considered mint state, but it still might have minor flaws. As the number increases, so does the quality, with MS-67 and above being coins of stunning perfection. These coins are typically pulled straight from mint rolls and handled with extreme care. A 1990 Jefferson nickel graded MS-67 or higher is very rare, especially if it has deep original luster and flawless surfaces, but there's one more designation that can change everything. Full steps. Full steps refers to the staircase at the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. These steps are incredibly difficult to strike fully, especially on nickels from the 1980s and 1990s. Only a tiny fraction of 1990 Jefferson nickels have been found with this full steps designation, which means the steps are clearly defined and uninterrupted. A 1990 nickel with full steps is already rare, but one that also has an error or is graded MS-67 or higher. That's the holy grail. Collectors know just how tough it is to find this combination, and that's why top examples of the 1990 Jefferson nickel have become headline makers in recent years. Let me tell you about one unforgettable sale. A 1990 Jefferson nickel, perfectly preserved in mint state 67 condition, with razor-sharp full steps and a minor but dramatic off-center strike, was submitted to a premier grading service. It was confirmed as genuine, certified, and placed into an elite auction where only top-tier collectors participated. The coin's visual appeal, rarity, condition, and unique error drew in fierce competition. Bidding climbed quickly. Collectors recognized that this wasn't just another nickel, it was a once-in-a-lifetime piece, and when the final bid was accepted, the hammer came down on a stunning price, $70,000. That's right, a coin worth 5 cents at face value sold for $70,000. It's a true testament to how something so small, so humble, and so easy to overlook can contain a world of value. It also proves one of the most important lessons in coin collecting: always pay attention to the details. So the next time you see a nickel from 1990, don't toss it aside. Take a moment. Look closely. Examine the strike, the edges, the steps on Monticello, the alignment of the design. If anything looks off, or unusually perfect, you just might be holding something extraordinary, because in the world of coins, a moment of curiosity can lead to a life-changing discovery. And the Jefferson nickel from 1990? It's living proof that even the smallest coin can hold the $70,000 secret. Keep searching, keep collecting, your treasure might be right there in your pocket. Top 3. Imagine holding a coin in your hand that most people wouldn't look at twice, a coin so ordinary it blends in with pocket change, yet so rare, so unusual, and so valuable that it has stunned collectors and auction houses alike. That coin is the 1991 Jefferson nickel, a 5-cent piece that has transformed from everyday currency into a high-stakes collectible. And believe it or not, in a rare case, one of these nickels sold for a mind-blowing $67,000, yes, a nickel, just 5 cents, commanding a price that rivals luxury cars and down payments on houses. How is that possible? What makes this small coin from 1991 so special, and what should you be looking for in your own collection? Today, we're going deep into the hidden world of this incredible coin. If you love numismatics, if you're a collector at heart, or even if you're just a curious listener, stay with me, because this story will make you see your change in a whole new way. Let's begin by setting the scene. The Jefferson nickel, introduced in 1938, replaced the iconic Buffalo nickel and brought a new design to American coinage. The obverse features a left-facing profile of Thomas Jefferson, and the reverse showcases Monticello, Jefferson's historic Virginia home. This design remained mostly unchanged for decades, becoming one of the longest-running coin designs in U.S. history. Fast forward to 1991. The world was changing, but the Jefferson nickel remained a steady, familiar face in American currency. That year, millions of nickels were minted, in Philadelphia, no mint mark, and Denver, marked with a D. To most people, these coins were just another part of daily transactions. But within those millions, a small number of extraordinary coins slipped through, coins with errors, variations, and conditions so pristine that they would later be valued far beyond their face value. Let's explore the rarity factors that make some 1991 Jefferson Nickels incredibly valuable. First, we need to talk about minting errors, the kinds of mistakes that turn ordinary coins into legendary finds. Point one of the most well-known and highly sought-after errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the coin blank, or planchet, isn't aligned properly when it's struck. The result? A coin with the design pushed dramatically to one side. If you find a 1991 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike of 15% to 50% and the date still clearly visible, you could be looking at a rare and valuable piece. Another exciting error is the clipped planchet, when part of the coin's edge is missing because the blank was incorrectly cut. These clips create curved or crescent-shaped gaps in the coin. When found with strong details and a visible date, these nickels become collector favorites. There's also the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that normally forms the rim. This gives the nickel a wider, flatter look, and creates a unique error that draws attention at coin shows and auctions. And then there's the rarest of them all, wrong planchet errors. Imagine a 1991 Jefferson nickel struck not on a nickel planchet, but on one intended for a penny or even a foreign coin. These rare pieces often have unusual weights or colors, and because they're so scarce, they fetch serious prices, but errors aren't the only factor that determines value. Condition is absolutely critical. Coins are graded on the Sheldon scale, which ranges from 1 to 70. A coin in MS-60, mint state, condition is uncirculated, but it may still have small flaws. A coin in MS-66 or MS-67, however, is nearly perfect. Add a beautiful, original luster and strong strike details, and you're entering the territory of elite coins. And then comes one of the most important features for Jefferson nickel collectors: full steps. Full steps refers to the steps at the base of Monticello on the reverse of the coin. On many nickels, these steps are partially worn or weakly struck, even straight from the mint. But if all 5 or 6 steps are clearly defined and uninterrupted, the coin earns the full steps designation. For the 1991 Jefferson nickel, finding a full steps example is no easy task. Only a tiny percentage of the coins minted that year show this level of sharpness, making them extremely collectible. Now, let's imagine you have a 1991 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike, preserved in mint state 67, with full steps, a trifecta of rarity, quality, and desirability. This exact combination came to light recently when a collector submitted such a coin for certification. The grading company confirmed it, mint state 67, with full steps, and a dramatic off-center error. The coin was entered into a national auction, and collectors immediately took notice. The bidding began modestly but escalated quickly. Experts recognized that coins like this almost never appear on the market, and then it happened. The final bid rolled in, and the coin sold for $67,000. A 5-cent coin. Sold for $67,000. It's hard to wrap your head around, but it's real. This sale sent shockwaves through the coin community and reignited interest in modern nickel errors. It also reminded everyone that some of the most incredible numismatic treasures are still out there, hidden in rolls, stuck in drawers, and waiting to be found. So here's what you should do. Check your change. Look through your old coin jars. Search those rolls of nickels at the bank. Study every 1991 Jefferson nickel you come across. Check for unusual strikes, missing edges, or misaligned images. Use a magnifying glass to examine Monticello. Are those steps sharp and complete? Is the surface clean and scratch-free? Is the luster intact? Because you never know, the next nickel you find might just be a record-breaker. In a world where value is often hidden beneath the surface, the 1991 Jefferson nickel reminds us of the importance of detail, curiosity, and patience. For collectors, it's a symbol of why we search, why we study, and why we love the coins we hold in our hands. And if you're lucky enough to find the right one, it might just be worth $67,000. Wish. You can either write in this text box or paste your own text here. Try different languages and voices. Change the speed and the pitch of the voice. You can even tweak the SSML, speech synthesis markup language, to control how the different sections of the text sound. Click on SSML above to give it a try. Enjoy using text-to-speech. Top 4. Let's take a moment to think about something we all use every day but rarely look at twice: coins. In particular, the humble Jefferson nickel. Now imagine this. What if I told you that one specific Jefferson nickel, minted in the year 1994, has been sold for a staggering amount, enough to buy a luxury car or even make a down payment on a beautiful home? Yes, you heard me right. A simple 1994 Jefferson nickel, with a face value of just 5 cents, has stunned collectors and auction houses alike by selling for an astonishing $57,000. So how is that possible? How can a small, everyday coin minted just a few decades ago become so valuable? Well, in this video, we're going to dive deep into the world of rare coins, mysterious minting errors, high-grade specimens, and the magic of coin collecting that can turn pocket change into pure gold. This is more than just a story about a coin. It's a journey into the unexpected, a journey that every coin lover, collector, and even curious listener should hear very carefully. Let's rewind to the early 1990s. America was bustling with economic growth, new technologies were emerging, and millions of coins were being produced by the U.S. Mint each year. Among them, the 1994 Jefferson Nickel was struck at both the Philadelphia Mint, no mint mark, and the Denver Mint, marked with a D. These coins were standard in every way, featuring the familiar left-facing portrait of Thomas Jefferson on the obverse and his majestic home, Monticello, on the reverse. But as with every year, not every coin left the mint perfectly. And it's in those imperfections, those hidden, accidental errors, where the true treasures lie. The Jefferson nickel, which debuted in 1938, was never meant to be flashy. It was designed for durability and function. Yet, over time, the numismatic world has learned to appreciate not just the design, but the rare anomalies that give certain nickels jaw-dropping value. Let's talk first about errors, because for many collectors, mint errors are what set average coins apart from exceptional ones. One of the most dramatic and highly prized errors is the off-center strike. This occurs when the planchet, the blank piece of metal, is not properly aligned when struck by the dies. The result is a coin with part of the design missing, shifted toward one side. If the date is still fully visible, especially on a 1994 Jefferson nickel, you may be looking at something extremely valuable. The more off-center the strike, the more dramatic, and the more desirable, the error becomes. Next up, we have the clipped planchet error. These coins are struck on planchets that have been improperly cut, leading to a curved, clip, or missing piece along the rim. A well-preserved clipped planchet error from 1994, particularly if the clip does not interfere with the coin's important details like the date or mint mark, can skyrocket in value. There's also the broad strike error, where the coin is struck without the collar that gives it a defined rim. This error produces a flatter and wider-looking coin, often with missing or distorted edges. These coins are unusual to see and highly collectible. And then, the rarest and most fascinating of all, the wrong planchet strike. Imagine a Jefferson nickel struck not on a nickel planchet, but on one meant for a penny, dime, or even a foreign coin. These kinds of errors are so rare that when they do show up, they make national headlines. They're easy to overlook because of their size or color, but to a trained eye, they are unmistakable. But errors alone don't tell the whole story. Condition is king in the world of coin collecting. Coins are graded from 1 to 70, with 70 being absolutely perfect. Most coins from 1994 are found in circulated condition, tossed in drawers, rubbed down from use, and bearing scratches, nicks, and wear. But once in a while, a coin emerges in pristine, uncirculated condition, with sharp detail, mirror-like luster, and no visible flaws. When such a coin is graded mint state 66, 67, or higher, it becomes truly rare. And here's where it gets even more interesting. One of the most important features in Jefferson nickel collecting is something called full steps. On the reverse of the coin, the steps leading up to Monticello are famously difficult to strike clearly. In most cases, they appear weak or incomplete. But when all the steps are perfectly struck, with no gaps or flattening, the coin earns the full steps designation. This distinction is so rare, especially on nickels from the 1990s, that it can add thousands of dollars to a coin's value. Now imagine combining these elements: a 1994 Jefferson nickel with an off-center strike, graded MS-67, with full steps, and original mint luster. That's a once-in-a-generation coin, and yes, one such coin was discovered, authenticated, and submitted to one of the top grading services in the country. When it hit the auction block, collectors from around the world took notice. The competition was fierce. The coin's condition, the sharpness of the design, the rare error, and the full steps designation made it the star of the show. After an intense bidding war, the hammer finally fell. The price, $57,000. That's right. A nickel, a 5-cent piece, sold for $57,000, and that's why coin collecting is so powerful. It's not just about age, or silver, or gold. It's about the stories, the errors, the details, and the surprises. It's about the possibility that something forgotten in a drawer, buried in an old coin jar, or hiding in a bankroll might just be the next legendary find. So what should you do? Start by looking at every 1994 Jefferson nickel you come across. Hold it up to the light. Use a magnifier. Look for steps on Monticello. Check the alignment of the design. Examine the edge. Is there something odd about its shape? Its color? Is the strike off-center? Are the steps sharp and full? Because you never know, the next great discovery might be hiding in your very own pocket change, and who knows, maybe you'll be the one to uncover the next $57,000 nickel. Keep searching. Keep collecting. And above all, enjoy every moment of the hunt. Top 5. Have you ever looked at a brand new coin, shiny, modern, freshly minted, and wondered if it could already be rare, already valuable, already on the radar of serious collectors? Most people don't give modern coins a second glance. They assume rarity comes only with age. But in the world of coin collecting, value can be born in the blink of an eye, sometimes right at the mint itself. And today, we're diving deep into a coin that proves just that, the 2023 Jefferson Nickel, a 5-cent piece that is taking collectors by surprise and has already fetched a shocking $11,000. Yes, you heard that right. A coin minted just last year, with a face value of 5 cents, sold for $11,000. How? Why? What made this tiny piece of currency such a big deal? Let's get into the fascinating story of how one of America's most familiar coins has become one of its most intriguing recent collectibles. The Jefferson Nickel has been around since 1938, and it's seen decades of American history pass through its design. While the obverse originally featured a left-facing portrait of President Thomas Jefferson and the reverse displayed his home, Monticello, the design saw major updates in the early 2000s, including dramatic portraits and commemorative reverses as part of the Westward Journey series. By 2006, the mint settled on a bold new forward-facing portrait of Jefferson, created by sculptor Jamie Franke, which remains in use today. Fast forward to 2023. The U.S. Mint continued to strike millions upon millions of Jefferson Nickels at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints. With so many in circulation, one might assume they're all identical, all average, all destined to live and die in pockets, cash registers, and parking meters. But as any coin collector knows, not all coins are created equal. Let's talk about what makes certain 2023 Jefferson Nickels stand out from the crowd and command major value. It begins with mint errors. These are mistakes that occur during the striking process, and they can transform a regular coin into a collectible masterpiece. First on the list is the off-center strike, a dramatic, visually jarring error where the design is misaligned, leaving part of the coin blank. A 2023 nickel with a 20 to 40% off-center strike, especially one where the date and mint mark are still visible, is instantly collectible. These coins don't just stand out, they demand attention. Next, we have die breaks and die chips. As the dies used to strike coins wear out, small cracks or chunks can form, resulting in extra blobs of metal in odd places on the coin. On Jefferson Nickels, these can show up in Jefferson's hair, cheek, or even the steps of Monticello. While minor die chips are common, large or unusually placed ones are extremely valuable, especially when paired with uncirculated condition. Another rare and exciting error is the struck-through error, where a foreign object, like a piece of cloth, wire, or metal shaving, gets between the die and the planchet during striking. This leaves a ghostly impression or deep mark on the coin's surface. A dramatic struck-through error from 2023 is not just rare, it's one of a kind. That there's also the possibility of wrong planchet strikes. A 2023 nickel accidentally struck on a planchet meant for a different coin, like a dime or even a foreign denomination. These coins often have strange weights or sizes, and when authenticated, can be worth thousands, but here's the key: condition matters immensely. Coins are graded on a 70-point scale, and the difference between a coin graded MS-64 and MS-67 can mean hundreds, even thousands, of dollars. A 2023 Jefferson nickel in mint state 67 or higher, with blazing original luster, sharp strike, and no visible marks, is already rare. But add in the ultimate designation, full steps, and now we're talking serious money. Full steps refers to the clarity and completeness of the steps on the reverse image of Monticello. Most nickels, even freshly minted ones, don't show all 6 steps due to weak strikes or worn dies. But when they do appear fully and crisply, with no interruptions, the coin earns the full steps label, making it premium grade in the eyes of collectors. So imagine this: a 2023 Jefferson nickel, uncirculated, graded MS-68, with full steps, and featuring a visible, dramatic off-center strike or another rare error like a struck-through or clipped planchet. That's the kind of combination that excites dealers, buyers, and auction houses alike. And yes, that exact coin was found, submitted to a top grading service, certified, and offered for sale. It didn't take long for the bids to start flying. Enthusiasts recognized immediately what they were seeing: a modern marvel, a numismatic miracle fresh from the mint. After fierce competition among some of the top Jefferson collectors in the country, the final hammer dropped on an astonishing price. That tiny, shiny coin, still younger than a year, sold for $11,000. A 5-cent coin. $11,000, this is why collectors obsess over every coin they touch. This is why they sort through rolls, study dies, search for errors, and hold modern change up to the light. Because lightning doesn't just strike old coins, sometimes it strikes brand new ones, right off the press. So what can you do? Start by checking your change. If you have a 2023 nickel, don't ignore it. Look at the strike. Examine Monticello's steps with a magnifying glass. Look for any signs of off-centering, strange marks, blobs of metal, or missing edges. Weigh it, measure it, inspect it. If it looks odd or perfect, either one could be a good sign, and if it's uncirculated, even better. You just might be holding the next big find, because in this world, where age is often mistaken for value, the 2023 Jefferson nickel proves something powerful: rarity is about uniqueness, not just time. And with the right features and a little luck, that small 5-cent coin in your hand might just be worth $11,000.